Spiritual Teaching 157. Love each other. 1. People of Israel. You present your heart to me. I want you to love me as a father. My spirit is eager for your love. The world has forgotten me, and if it seeks me, it does so through imperfect ways. And since it has no proof of my presence, he loses his faith and becomes incredulous. If someone told you that I am speaking to the people of Israel, you would not believe it. He would ask me for proof and be like Thomas. And I have told you, blessed is he who, without seeing, has believed in me. 2. The temple that I have prepared for me is in the spirit of man, as I have always taught you. 3. Study my manifestations and think that I have come one more time among you because you have not known how to come to the Father. Having the law, my word and the prophecies, you have not fulfilled your mission. If you had analyzed, you would be waiting for the events that will mark this new era. 4. I have come to give you my teaching as in the second era. Many will not know me, only those who know how to spiritualize. You will see this manifestation clearly. You who hear me, feel charity for humanity that has not found my footprint and prepare to teach, become teachers. With what joy will you look at your disciples as their faith and knowledge grow in my doctrine? 5. Many hearts will come to me. Those who have been filled with pride will come humble. Others will arrive guided by their consciousness, measuring his works and with great repentance. I am waiting to prepare you, that your spirit be like a clean fountain, and my word like crystal clear water that quenches your thirst. 6. Elijah was sent to prepare those to receive this light. Surprise mankind sleeping, forgetting all that is spiritual. Only a few were prepared to receive the message. How much bliss in those children to see my promise fulfilled, and how much love in my spirit for all men. The years have passed and my word it has flowed full of essence to feed hearts. Others will wake up late, when this manifestation has passed. But do not lament, because a time of greater grace will come for all, in which you will seek to communicate with me without material intermediaries. 7. Men of science will be touched by me. Many strange diseases will appear and will not know how to cure them. They will be powerless to ease the pain. Only those who rise spiritually will have the power to heal. There will be ministers who, full of the desire to become spiritual, adhere to the people of Israel. Many who have been first will be last. Of many institutions and churches that have not been founded on the basis of love, there will not be stone upon stone. I am clearing the fields, and I do not want the tares to grow next to the wheat. 8. Visit homes, go to the bed of the sick, help those who suffer in prisons and places of expiation, console everyone. Go in my name and practice your gifts. 9. Take the spiritual world as an example. Imitate it in its patience and in its love for humanity, in its struggle for the welfare of all of you. 10. Those who have loved the world very much, but then have listened to me, have recognized their mistakes and have sensed that the desire to purify themselves is born in them. They have an inner struggle and then they ask me, Lord, is it necessary to ignore the flesh and the world to make our spirit free itself? To which I answer, merit does not consist in ignoring the flesh, but in reaching the harmony between the spirit and the body that serves as staff. Moreover, how can you achieve that harmony if the spirit does not let your conscience lead? 11. Do you think that he has made your body an enemy of your spirit? No, you answer me. But so they have always marched like enemies. In continuous war, they have always walked one and the other, because the spirit feels the desire to liberate itself and to reach a higher degree of perfection. 12. Only my teachings, which are the explanation of the law, can lead you to harmony, to reconciliation inside of your being. Believe that when you have won that battle, the way thereafter will be easy for you. 13. The flesh, and you must understand it that way. The body is the ship, the spirit is the pilot. How should it be fair that the ship is the one that drives the pilot as he sees fit? 14. It is from this lack of harmony in man that those great storms have risen, from which most of the time the spirit has been defeated. But when the flesh, finally bent by persuasion and the confidence that the spirit is heading towards its grand finale, meekly take the mission that corresponds to you and no longer deprive your spirit of what belongs to him, the harmony between the two natures in which the human creature is formed will have been achieved. Its elevation you will achieve when flesh and spirit walk together on the path of spiritual evolution that shows you the love and wisdom of your Creator through your consciousness. Flesh, with its obedience, with its docility and meekness before the dictates of its spirit, will come to crucify himself on the cross of sacrifice and renunciation, to give his spirit the elevation and joy of having reached his place in eternal life. 15. Free will is the highest expression. It is the most complete gift of freedom that was granted to man on the path of life, so that his perseverance in the good, achieved by the counsel of conscience and by the struggle in the fulfillment of the tests, made him reach the bosom of the Father. But free will has been replaced by debauchery, the consciousness is ignored, and only the dictates of the world are attended, and spirituality has been replaced by materialism. 16. Faced with so much confusion and so much deviation, my doctrine will seem absurd to the men of this time. But to you I say, that it is the right teaching to get men to get rid of the lethargy in which they find themselves. 17. Walkers, put down your crook and your saddlebag and rest from your long journey. Sit around me, eat my bread, and talk with your master. Let your spirit come to me in perfect communion. 18. You are the same people who in other times followed me in search of improvement for your spirit, and now you ask me in surprise, why have you come back to us? And I answer you, it is written that the spirit of my children must live at the right hand of their Lord for all eternity. And for you to come to me, it is necessary that you learn and make merits by imitating your master. 19. I have sown my seed in you through the ages, and how few are those who have loved me. I have stated my power through envoys, chosen from a great number of spirits, from the just Abel, who was an example of humility, Joseph, son of Jacob, into whom wisdom and holiness were poured out, John the Baptist, who only lived to bear witness to me, without having taken from the world anything that would harm body or spirit. And like these, they clean of spirit. So many others that you know, and whose work grows and becomes gigantic with the passing of the years. But so many tests and so many voices have not been enough that you have allowed yourself to be lost in infinity, because you have not wanted to see in my word a reflection of my divinity. 20. You ask the presence of your Lord, to feel him and hear his voice speaking your own language, and it was granted to you to achieve your salvation. And despite having kept me so close and having spoken to my people, you have not come in after me, and you have compelled me to return among you. 21. My lesson of the second era is written in the book of your consciousness. I taught you to love and to receive the caress and the tenderness of Mary. I took pleasure in feeling and loving the warmth of the mother's lap, also savoring the sustenance that her bosom offered me. I knew how to enjoy with her and share the work and the hard days. I received the caress of the rays of the sun and enjoy contemplating the mountains, the fields, the sea, and on all I poured out my blessings. I prepared the crops, the waters, and everything that gives food to men. 22. I knew how to shake the friend's hand. I enjoyed the innocence of children, with the gallantry and nobility of the young men, and with the purity of the heart of the maidens. I was filled with satisfaction as I contemplated self-denial and sacrifice of mothers and the strength of men. For 33 years I lived in the world. so that man could feel the perfection and the examples of their Lord, whom they could behold closely, and so that they would learn to imitate me at all times. I taught you the love of God, as well as the compliance with its laws. I told you how you should love your parents, your brothers, and your children. I spoke to you of the love between spouses. I showed you the clean path of work, respect, and charity for one another. I invited you to live in perfect communion with the Father and also in harmony with nature. 23. However, many were called and few were chosen. There were 12 in whom I poured the flow of my wisdom. I held them responsible for the Second Testament, for my lessons given almost all figuratively, for my parables that were countless, and all that was recorded in the conscience of men, so that neither time or the vicissitudes were to erase it. 24. I gave strength to those creatures, so that nothing would slow them in the fight that awaited them, and they would know how to face the wise men that stand on human science. I said to my disciples, I leave you as shepherds of humanity, of that flock today scattered that will have to be reunited in a single sheepfold. I also told them, build the temple, and when I spoke to them like that, I did not refer to temples built of quarry, spoke to them of the Spirit, where it corresponds to build the dwelling for your temple. Man cannot even represent it, because it is made up of the universe with all its creatures, and it is in it where the true altar, the offering, and the lights are found. 25. The heart of my disciples was ready. The glass was clean inside and outside, and full of sweetness, faith, and hope. Thus they rose to communicate the good news to humanity. And when speaking after my departure, they said to their brothers, all of you can receive the Lord. In his word the blood and body of the Master are contained. 26. Thus they spoke, and I led them step by step. They knew how to teach and verify all his words with facts. By wherever they went, they were inside the temple, whether in the desert, in the valley, or in the various nations. His mouth was like a spring of crystalline and life-giving waters that purifying the peoples. 27. They did not have, as Jesus did not, neither crown, nor scepter, nor purple robe. They were humble. I told them, be humble, be the last wherever you go. Give to your brothers everything that you have received from me. Hide nothing, and so may my seed multiply and reach all hearts. 28. My disciples always respected human life. They will never dare to take my place as judge. They knew how to leave me the cause, fair or unfair, that only I could solve. They did not ask the men why they sinned, and for all they had mercy and forgiveness. 29. Now, in the third era, when my people near the end of my communication, I find myself preparing new disciples. Everything has been accomplished according to my will. I am building the indestructible temple in the spirit of my children. 30. Do not present me any more symbols or represent me in material form. Alone listen and obey my inspirations. That will be enough to achieve spirituality. 31. In this time you have not heard my voice in the same way that I made you hear it in the first time, in which I did shake the spirit of men. 32. Now I do not come to give you my teaching through Jesus, my incarnate word. I have spoken to you through human creatures, because you have already climbed and you can understand me and transmit my word. 33. The end of this manifestation is near. To start it in a higher form, establishing communication from spirit to spirit with your Creator, which is the one used by the highest spirits that live near me. 34. Do not fear the day of my departure, because I will never be absent from you. In the second era, after my ascension, I presented myself to my disciples, limited in the form of Jesus, to give them the consolation. Today, you do not know how many days you will not feel me, but at the end of them, you will look at me again and feel that I inspire you. and that new words flow to your mind. I only ask for unification, a single body and a single will, so that it be worthy of going to the end. There will be present on that day the 12 tribes of the chosen people, that 12 apostles. They will also accompany you, so that you feel strengthened by their example, because I am going to leave you, as well as them, as sheep among hungry wolves. But I will be with you in your persecution, in prison, at all times when you need me. 35. I will protect my seed. 36. Work hard still, so that when I contemplate that love, clarity, and simplicity reign among my people, leave as teachers of humanity. If they ask you for teaching, deliver it. If they silence you, be quiet humbly. Sow always at your step, as I have taught you. 37. Love your brothers, so that you may lay the foundations of peace and harmony between them. 38. People, how long will you bear fruit? It has been a long time since I have been teaching you, and I still have not the apostles that humanity is so needing to rise up and appear. 39. The time you have left is short so that you can still hear me, and it is necessary for you to learn my lessons, so that you find it easier to bear witness to them. 40. Think that of the examples that you give as well as of your works. After I have stopped speaking to you, it depends that many of the hearts that did not have the happiness to listen to me in this manifestation awaken to faith and become my workers. 41. I give you as an example of these words the conversion of Saul, later called Paul, who delivered himself, complete body and spirit, in the service of his Lord. 42. Paul was not among the 12 apostles. He did not eat at my table or follow me along the roads to listen to my teachings. Rather, he did not believe in me, or did he look favorably on those who followed me. In his heart was the idea to exterminate the seed that I had entrusted to my disciples, which was already beginning to spread. But Paul did not know that he was one of mine. He knew that the Messiah was to come, and he believed in it, but could not imagine that the humble Jesus be the promised Savior. His heart was filled with the pride of the world, and that is why he had not felt my presence. 43. Saul had risen up against his Redeemer, persecuted my disciples as well as the people who came to hear my message from the lips of those apostles. And so I surprised him, while dedicated to chasing my own. I touched him in the most sensitive part of his heart, and he instantly recognized me, because his spirit was waiting for me. That's why he heard my voice. 44. It was my will that this public man became that way, so that the world was witnessing each lesson of those amazing works that will stimulate your faith and your understanding. 45. What is the fact of quoting the life of that man, who since then devoted himself to love his fellow men, inspired by love for his master and his divine lessons? 46. Paul was one of the greatest apostles of my word. His testimony was always of love, of clarity, of truth, and of light. His previous materialism became a very high spirituality. His hardness became infinite tenderness. And thus the persecutor of my apostles was changed into the most diligent sower of my word, into the tireless walker to take to different nations, to regions and to villages, the divine message of his Lord, for whom he lived and to whom he offered his life. 47. Here you have, beloved people, a beautiful example of conversion and a demonstration that, even though you did not listen to me, men can become my great apostles. 48. Today I tell you, where is my people? Where is he who was prudent in trials, strong in battles, and persevering in struggles? It is scattered throughout the world, but I will lift him up with my voice and gather him spiritually, so that it goes to the front of all the towns. But I tell you that now it will be made up of men of all races, which will come to understand what is the alliance that I am waiting for from all men. 49. This people will be strong and combative, but they will not have murder weapons or war chariots, nor will they sing songs of extermination. His flag will be peace, his sword truth, and his shield love. 50. No one will be able to discover where that people is, and it will be everywhere. Its enemies will try to destroy it, but they will not be able, because they will never find it materially reunited, because their union, their order, and their harmony will be spiritual. 51. If at that time Moses freed him and led him along arid and lonely roads, crossing in the midst of enemies who surrounded him, and made him cross between them, until he was placed at the gates of the promised land. Now an invisible Elijah, but manifest and present, he will call the people to fight and show them paths of light, to lead them with firm and certain steps to the thresholds of the abode that I have reserved for your spirit. 52. The spiritual law that serves as a norm and guide will be the same that I wrote on the stone and that was revealed to you in Mount Sinai. The spiritual bread that sustains it will be the one contained in the word that was given to you through Jesus. The light that gives you hope and strength never to deviate from the path of truth again will be the inspiration you receive this time is descending from infinity, to reveal to the spirits all that was unknown to them. 53. Anyone who shows advancement in the gifts I have given him, as well as in his spiritual faculties, let him be also an indefatigable seeker of truth, or who loves spirituality. Truly I tell you, that will be one of the soldiers of this people, and he will know how to listen to the voice of his Lord when he calls to fight, as well as when he invites him to peace. 54. Does this mirage seem like just a beautiful dream? 55. When Moses saw Israel in Egypt and announced the blessings of the promised land, the people doubted, because he had become used to being tied to the yoke of bondage and the penalties of slavery, seeming to him impossible that a land of freedom and well-being could exist for him. However, that people got up and little by little left approaching that land that at first had seemed just a beautiful dream, until he achieved the fruit of his perseverance and loyalty. 56. I want you to take from my word its essence, which is the food of every spirit. In it you will find the bread of life, the wine of spiritual joy, the fruit of true love. 57. It is necessary that while you eat with me at the table of love and spirituality, you learn to speak to me and learn to hear me, because this manifestation that you now witness is fleeting, and it is essential that you learn to communicate spiritually with me, so that when you stop hearing my voice in this form, you will not feel abandoned, lonely, or orphans. 58. Enjoy yourselves in this time that you have my communication, but never leave your mind on the day that is appointed by my will, so that you receive my word for the last time. 60. I tell you this, because those who become too familiar with my communication, it will be death for them the day they no longer can listen to me, and then they will be exposed to seek by already illicit means a manifestation that in something fills the empty place in her heart, but my light will not be there. 61. It is necessary that from now on you understand that if this communication did not have a term, you could never take a step forward, because you would have no interest in studying my word or in seeking spiritual communication. Why do it if day after day you could hear this word and receive this consolation every time you ask for it? But when the lesson has concluded and the message has been delivered, everything will change, and then, if you want to feel close to me, you will have to meditate on everything that your memory will keep, and if you want to feel strong, you will have to surrender to a true spiritual fulfillment, in which you become sowers of peace, light, balm, and charity. 62. For your sake, the time you listen to me through human understanding should be brief, because you are so small and so fragile, that as soon as a little time has passed since you have been listening to me, When you begin to familiarize with my presence in this form, you stop feeling that emotion that overwhelmed you the first days, and each time you go experiencing less that joy of coming to listen to me, joy that took many nights from you until like a dream, thinking that you were going to listen to me, longing for the day to come and the moment to hear again that voice, those moments it seemed impossible to you that you could listen. 63. Could it be true, you asked in your heart, if I can hear the voice of my Lord, will I be worthy to witness the manifestation of my Creator through that wonderful word? Oh, Master, what a great joy that you have given to our spirit, making us hear your paternal voice, your word as teacher, your divine word. And you didn't get tired of listening to me, and you didn't want to lose a single word, and you didn't want to disobey one of my commands. But the time and you got used to hearing me, and as you no longer tried to deepen yourselves, my word began to tire you. You found it monotonous, always the same, without realizing that it was you who did not arrive prepared as in the early days, when you approached full of anointing, respect, wonder, faith, love, and humility. 64. I can tell you that there has not been a single heart that, having listened to me for some time, is not familiar with my word and my manifestations. So I tell you once again that, due to your smallness and human frailty, you cannot stay in spirituality for long, and it is better that for your good I limit the time of my communication, because if I did not do so, you would all end up not feeling respect for something that has been a grace that your Master, in fulfillment of a promise of the second era, I have now come to give you. My peace be with you.